Hi guys, Kevin Newton for Australian Survival Instructors. I'm here with an Australian icon and legend, Major Les Hiddens. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And Les has got some interesting stuff happening on his website now, so take a look.
Well, this is the original report that I put in after I had my Defence Fellowship in 1980. And I catalogued all these species around Northern Australia. And I did it via a vehicle and driving with a Land Rover or by helicopter. It was all published in the first year, and I can tell you, I really worked hard that year.
So tell us a little bit about the website, what clients can expect.
Right, well what it is instead of publishing in paper format, we decided to go electronic and digital.
Yep.
Because you can do so much more on the web than what you can do in a book.
Yep.
And when you get in there, you can you've got a drop-down menu, and it says, where are you? Are you in a wetland or an arid zone or coastal or tropical rainforest or whatever? There's about 6 different categories.
Okay.
And what month of the year are you there? And another drop-down menu, and I'm there in February.
Yep.
Right, bang, and up comes all the resources, the survival resources that are relevant to that environment at that time of year, sort of thing. And then you say, well, I want to know about that one, and it might have a skull and crossbones on it, so it's toxic. I need to know about that.
Yeah.
And you click on that, and then you, when you're into it and you've subscribed to it, it gives you all the information relevant to that species. Tells you how to find it, how to identify it, what sort of environment it works and lives in, you know, or in some cases, nutritional value as well. But in addition to that, in several instances, we've got a case whereby I've done a verbal narrative, and you click the verbal narrative button, and up comes my voice, boring you to tears.
That sounds great. Is there any video on there yet, or
no? Not at this stage. Not at this stage, because Sandy and I, my wife and I, have been busy for the last 2 years rephotographing a lot of the species.
Yep. Because
we didn't have digital coverage of them, but now we do. And so at this stage we haven't done any video, but that's something down the track, and I've got to get a bit smarter to be able to do that.
That sounds awesome. I noticed that you had a section on fungi, on mushrooms.
Yeah.
This time, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds
there's puffballs and horse mushroom and field mushroom, I think. They're the main ones that we've gone into there.
Okay.
And they're the main species. We haven't gone too far into it because you can get some pretty dodgy stuff in the fungus area.
Yep.
So we've sort of steered away from the dodgy stuff and just looked at stuff that you can really quite easily identify and deal with.
Yep. Yeah. The reason I asked that is my school, probably one of the only schools that actually teach safe fungi foraging.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you know, for me it's pretty similar to any other sort of bush tucker, bush food. You don't just eat something you don't know about.
Of course you
don't. It's a case of learning and knowing what you're IDing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
You've got to educate yourself. And what this is an education tool, this website. Yeah. And it's got a neat handle. It's bushtuckerman.com.au.
Awesome. And obviously it would contain all of the information you've collected over the past...
No, not all. The vast majority. There's still some more species I haven't put on there, but that can happen in due course. But some of the species you'd never really find, and they're not that common, so I've sort of left them to one side.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yep.
So, what actually started your interest in researching bush tucker? Obviously, you had an interest previously to receiving the scholarship from the Defence Force.
Yeah.
Was it something you liked to get into when you were young, or?
I think, really, thinking back on it goes back to the Vietnam War, I think, and I was in infantry over there in Vietnam. I did a couple of tours. Excuse me. And
yes, you were a forward scout, I believe.
On the first tour, yeah, I was. And the second tour, I was put in the intelligence section. Then the Army realised their mistake, and they sent me to the officer cadet school, you know. But when I was in infantry as a scout, I remember we went and at one stage we had a a very long exercise out in Scotland. We didn't want to give away our position to the enemy, so we called off the resupply, the food resupply, one day and then another day and then another day. And by then I was starting to think, well, wouldn't it be nice if I knew what you could eat round here, you know? And eventually we called in the choppers and they gave us a food resupply.
There's nothing like actually being out the bush hungry, is there, to
Yeah.
make you appreciate. And
of course, when I came back from the Vietnam War and went through the officer cadet school and got commissioned, I actually moved from infantry across to Army Aviation.
Yes.
And I was flying around in helicopters all over Northern Australia. And again, when you're flying in very remote areas, we've got some pretty remote stuff here in Australia.
Absolutely.
You look down, you say, well, how would I get on if I had to ditch here?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
how would we survive here, type thing.
Yeah.
So I started it off as a bit of a hobby, just going to the local Aboriginals and saying, well, what bush tucker you got in season here now? And they'd show me this or that, and I didn't have a clue what they were showing me. But I'd take samples and photographs, and then I'd take it back to the university in Townsville, and the botany department, and they'd identify it for me and give it a taxonomic name, you know.
Yeah.
And then I started cataloguing it and writing it up. Then I got the Defence Fellowship.
Ah, okay. So they got wind that you were doing this just for yourself, and then offered you the scholarship.
Yeah. It took me 2 applications. First year I got knocked back because every colonel in the Australian Army put their hand up to go to university for a year. And I was a captain, so I was way down the pecking order, and I missed out, you know.
Yeah.
So I came back again next year with a vengeance, and this time I got it.
Yeah.
Because I only gave one away, you know.